RDJ,
RDJ.
RDGA.
Okay,
So,
so Stevie, why don't you take it off?
so this shook up the fan base yesterday, which is hilarious. So first off, want to say happy birthday to RDJ. He just
Happy
turned
birthday,
60 years
RDJ.
old, man. It's crazy. I can't believe he's 60. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
But he had a birthday party, and there was a there were like three pictures that surfaced. The first picture was obviously his birthday card, which was a photo of him in a Iron Man inspired type of mask with like with the green Doctor Doom costume with the hair and the magic coming from his
And
hands
it
with
was like
Dr.
a
Doom under him.
retro style Marvel Comics comic book cover.
Yeah,
And it
I know
was
you love that.
cool, but it wasn't like as cool as it was. I think it would have been the big picture of the weekend if it A had his actual Doctor Doom design, and
Yeah,
B, I just don't think his costume looked that cool on that comic book cover. And now everyone's talking about his haircut because the haircut is, I think we got to throw it up on the screen because you can't really see it. It's in the thumbnail behind me and Stevie in the center. You can kind of see it, but let's blow the photo up so everyone can see what we're talking about.
1 second, boss. Getting
Yep.
that up. Party people. Here you
Party people.
go. So here is a picture of RDJ with his new look, and he looks very different than
Yeah.
usual.
Could you get the other photo though?
Yeah,
Let
one
me
second.
send
Hold
it
on.
to you.
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to remove you. I got it right. I think you DM'd it to me. I got it right here.
Yeah, this one.
Oh wait, I have our text right on my
Yeah, I just resent it.
Thank you, brother.
Yep.
All right. All right, let me pull this up here. Shit, stop screen. 1 second, y'all. Oh wait, that's gonna show all of my text. Don't want to do that. Oh my god, that would have been bad. All right.
Especially with my haters.
I'm dying. Oh my gosh. All right, there we go.
I should get another hat that says "Hi haters." I know or influencing the haters.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Present. There we go. Boom. So here's a better photo of RDJ's new haircut. He's posing with some, I think it's a fan or something that he's
I don't know if it's a fan because and you can't really see his like apron or whatever he's wearing behind the title text, but he's wearing something like an apron and it looked very Romanian, Latvian, and it gave me super Latveria vibes. But I think they're filming in London. And you know, I wrote on Threads, I was like, I said something to the effect that he looks very Latvian, and he does. Of course, someone tried to get smart with me about it, but he definitely looks Latvian. And if you ever read any comics with Doctor Doom and, been in Latveria, especially like Books of Doom or the, Mark Waid Unthinkable Prologue, things like that, you get a feel for Latveria and its people. You could see that he has a very Latvian style, and he does look like the Doctor Doom we have on our thumbnail. That's directly behind me and Steven. You could get a good visual of that right now. We're only covering half, so you should be able to get the idea. And I think this is great. The only thing that's kind of funny is like he just looks like he's having fun, which is cool. It's his birthday. I want to see him being like savage, but we're not going to criticize the king for having fun on his 60th birthday while he returned to his MCU castle.
I just find it funny how and like this is where common sense kicks in, right? Because you and I were texting about it, and we're like, "Yo, this is cool," because you and I expected this, right? We knew that because he was Victor Von Doom, right? That there was going to be a change in hairstyle, and that they were going to make certain changes to his looks. And a lot of people thought that this was just going to be a Tony Stark, like just press on, that he's going to have the same haircut, the same hairstyle, he's going to look the exact same, and we're just going to throw him into a Doctor Doom mask. And obviously, and to be honest, bro, and I'm not even trying to be dramatic, he looks like a whole different person in this. Like, it doesn't look like Tony Stark. I'm saying, like, it doesn't look like Tony Stark whatsoever. Like he looks like a whole different dude.
Because I said from day one, he's playing Victor Von Doom. Don't let the announcement break your brains. And he is not going to look like Tony Stark when he's playing Victor Von Doom, other than the fact that his facial features are going to be identical because you can't change that. But he's not going to be Tony Stark. And it's like, I've already seen people that have like really rode that wave that are starting to pretend they never did.
100%. 100%.
Because it was stupid. It was such a stupid thing. And there's so many dumb theories. And it's just like so aggravating. But, is what it is. What are you going to do? You can't fix stupid.
I also think like it disrespects Dr. Doom as a character to think that you're going to skip over Victor Von Doom and go to a whole other scenario. And that's what I don't like, and when you, and Jerry basically forced me to read a bunch of Dr. Doom stuff. So after reading it, it really makes me mad because it's like, y'all are trying to disrespect Victor Von Doom. Like, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
He is the GOAT. And, he is just that character that, like, once you get to know, you just want more of. He is just incredible. And he's one of the greatest fictional characters of all time. So it's awesome that we're getting him. And, Marvel is like, yeah, they make some mistakes. Like they're doing Shalabal and not Norrin Radd. And, not to say that Norrin Radd isn't iconic because he is, but Dr. Doom is literally the biggest villain in all of Marvel. And like people thought that they were going to give us a weird, like obscure alternate version. That is just so crazy. As much as I would love to see Infamous Iron Man at some point, I think that the right move is obviously to do Victor Von Doom as Dr. Doom. And who knows, maybe down the line they'll do something like Infamous Iron Man and put him on the Avengers, and and then he goes bad again because you can't have Victor Von Doom stay a hero because that's just not who he is.
Yeah. I also and when you
read what Doom comics have you read?
Books of Doom, the Ed one that came out in 2005 to 2006 run. Yep. One of the things about it that I loved though, Jerry, was obviously one of the main things about Doom, which I obviously knew, but Brubaker kind of dives a little bit deeper into it about how you get to see Doom's relationship with science and magic, and kind of and I was kind of thinking about this through my like regular fan brain, right? And I was saying like for someone who only watches MCU content, like when they see Dr. Doom on screen, I can see a lot of people saying, "Yo, this is like," and I'm not saying that this is accurate, but I think that it's going to but I think fans are going to use this to try to relate to Dr. Doom. A lot of fans are going to say, "Oh my gosh, like he has powers like Doctor Strange, but he's like as smart as Reed," And it's like, what happens when you mix those two powers into one person and they're evil, And when I read Books of Doom, like it kind of made me respect Dr. Doom more as a sorcerer, if that makes sense. Because I'm going to be honest, bro. Like I didn't really respect Doom as a sorcerer, but I respected him as a scientific mind, if that makes sense. And another thing, bro, his the death of his mother, bro, it really jacked him up, dude. It jacked him up bad. And like, and as I said, like when you watch a comics explained video or whatever, like it's like you see that, but when you read it for yourself, like you really get to see how, I guess, challenged he actually is with his mom's death.
Yeah, and and how they treated his father and how that impacted him, and his relationship with I forget his the girl he loved, his name. What's up, Smiles Frown? And but and that was really interesting, and how he kind of wants her back, and then she gets back with him, and then he's just like, I can't, because if I stay with you, you're going to hold me back on who I'm supposed to be. And that was really interesting too, because it was super savage. And it's kind of in a way similar to James Bond, how he was with women after after Vesper Lynd in Casino Royale. And I think that we should talk about that more on the new channel that we're doing with Spectrum. But a lot of people, I think that would make them see James Bond a little more accurately than they do. I think most people have a surface level understanding of James Bond. He's actually a much deeper character. And Dr. Doom, I think, it's interesting because with Dr. Doom, there's a lot of people that they don't really know anything about him, but they're super hyped about him just because they understand how big of a character he is, and they know it means big things for the MCU, but just on the way we talk about someone like him. And, I think if you read comics, you don't have a surface level understanding of Dr. Doom. The Marvel comics do a really good job of the complexities of the character, how he's very ego driven, where he really counts his ego. So I think that this is going to be a much different type of character for Robert Downey Jr. And I really hope that they don't I just don't think it's the second they say, oh, you look like Iron Man, it's going to make it feel silly. I just think that's stupid. I think a lot of people want that just because it broke their brain, and I think it's a stupid thing to want. But I can't wait to see him, and I really, really hope that we see him before Avengers Doomsday. And that brings me to something I've been thinking about. So say we were to see him before Doomsday, which I think we should. But when I think about it like that, I'm like, where would we see him? And the only place that, based on the MCU slate right now, that I think makes sense is the Fantastic Four post-credit scene. But at the same time, I think we need to see more of him than just a post-credit scene before Avengers Doomsday.
I agree. And this is why reading comics is so crazy, because I do when I read Books of Doom, when you read after he got expelled from school, and then she goes to those monks, right? And he's kind of learning about spirituality, and his physical was healing as well. I feel like there was a lot of ways that you could have, introduced him in those areas. But you're right, though. We definitely do have to see Doom. And I mean, the only project where I think it works right now, bro, is the Fantastic Four. He has to, I think he kind of has to pop up. And, you and I have talked about cameos, but yeah, I do think Doom has to pop up before. And I mean, even with Thanos, right? We didn't really see Thanos that much, but we still got to see him saying fine, I'll do it myself, or whatever he said, right? Yeah. And then you end Thor with just a random ship popping up, and the movie ends. It's Thanos at that point. So I definitely feel like you have to have him pop up to show the influence of Dr. Doom in the MCU somehow.
What I'm thinking is, if I were Kevin Feige, and we should have spoke. Did you look at the tweets I sent you from Bo DeMaio? That was
but see, but I don't,
because I want to talk about that, but I don't want to go on a tangent on this. If I were Kevin Feige, and that's why I was thinking, it was it's not really Kevin Feige, but if I were Kevin Feige and I were calling the shots, I think, and me, I'm a very creative person. I'm not stupid, but I don't consider I think a lot of fans think of themselves as not fans, and they think of themselves as Kevin Feige. I don't do that. Okay. So it's very rare I am saying what I think they should do in this type of a decision. But in breaking tradition, what I would do if I were Kevin Feige on this is I would do a special, and I wouldn't like go out of my way to say it's special, but I would give a longer post-credit scene, like maybe a 3 or 4 minute post-credit scene, maybe even 5, but I think 3 or 4 would be enough, of Doctor Doom. Like introduce people to Doctor Doom, because you have a lot of fans. It's got to be 90% or more of MCU fans don't read comics. So I think that, like, introduce the fans to Doctor Doom and let them have a better understanding of who the character is. And you don't really have to dive big into plot to do that in a post-credit scene. Like, you could just do a simple interaction with him that introduces fans to the character and gives them a better understanding of him, if that makes sense.